As we look at the quarterbacks in this matchup, we have an interesting situation. With the Saints, we aren't sure who will be leading the charge. It could be either Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston. For the Cardinals, it's going to be Kyler Murray. Now, the Saints have had their struggles this season, and it begins with Jameis Winston, who has multiple back fractures. He was active last week, but Andy Dalton had remained the starter. This will have to be a wait-and-see type of approach on Thursday night to see who the Saints will go to. Kyler Murray hasn't been the same Murray that we're used to, and the Cardinals can't seem to get anything going. This week, Murray will hope to make a big impact now that DeAndre Hopkins is back. I have Kyler Murray as a start, and whichever quarterback starts out of Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston, either one of those guys are going to be a sit. Fantasy production isn't really there for the Saints quarterbacks, and I believe they should not be an option no matter what happens or which starter they're going to go with this week. Kyler Murray, on the other hand, should be able to have a field day against this beat-up secondary without Marshon Lattimore. If Lattimore sits another game due to an abdomen injury, I'm just not sure who they have to cover DeAndre Hopkins. As far as the running backs go, we need to talk about the Saints with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. There's no way that you can sit one of the best running backs in football. Kamara has the ability to break any run or any catch to the house on any given play. Mark Ingram just isn't seeing the volume needed to be relevant really in fantasy. On the other side of the ball, we have James Conner and Eno Benjamin. I really don't see Conner being able to play this week just due to having a short week, and he kind of failed to play last week just due to his rib injury, which leaves Eno Benjamin carrying the load once again for the Cardinals. Last week against the Seahawks, Benjamin rushed 15 times for 37 yards while adding 3 receptions for 28 yards. I have Alvin Kamara as a start, with Mark Ingram and Benjamin being sits, and of course, even if Conner plays, I have him as a sit. Benjamin's going up against a good front seven, and he should be seeing around the same numbers that he produced last week. Other than Kamara, there just really isn't anything that looks good from these running backs. Kamara should have a good time, and that's about it. Now let's look at some of the receivers in this matchup. Starting on the Saints side, we have Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry, who I don't expect to play this week. Chris Olave has passed all the league's concussion protocols and should be the number 1 wide receiver for the Saints, alongside Marquez Callaway. Now, all of this could be a game time decision, and they may choose to sit Olave, being it's a short week, but as of today, I do see Olave being there on Thursday night. The Saints have been riddled with injuries this season, so it's a true next man up type of mentality. Now we move on to the Cardinals wide receivers with DeAndre Hopkins, Robbie Anderson, and Rondale Moore. Marquise Brown had a foot injury last week, and he could be looking at being gone for the rest of the season. This week, they get DeAndre Hopkins back from a 6-game suspension. They traded for Robbie Anderson, and they also have Rondale Moore. Look for them to throw DeAndre Hopkins into the fire early for production. We all know the Cardinals need it. I have DeAndre Hopkins, if starting Chris Olave, and Rondale Moore as starts with Marquez Callaway, Robbie Anderson as sits. Hopkins should come in and be the lead dog from the get-go, with Marshon Lattimore having the likelihood of not sitting up. Just Hopkins could really have a field day. I'm also looking at good days from Chris Olave as long as he plays, and Rondale Moore. Marquez Callaway could be a flex-worthy option if Olave misses the game, and I would definitely just stay away from Robbie Anderson, who just joined the team and he really doesn't know the plays yet. Lastly, let's look at the tight end position and talk about Taysom Hill and Zach Ertz. Hill can give you 35 plus points one week and 5 points the next. I mean, he is a classic boom or bust type of guy. You know, given how the tight end position is, he's definitely worth having in your lineup. On the other hand, Zach Ertz, he's been the one bright spot on the offense for the Cardinals. He should continue to produce for your fantasy team. I have both Zach Ertz and Taysom Hill as starts for this matchup. Ertz should continue to see good target share, and Taysom Hill has that explosive ability to win you a week, so I can't recommend to sit him. Both of these guys are starts for me.